I'm going to tell you what I think is important about diversity, equity, and inclusion. You're going to hear a myriad of ideas around this throughout your day here. And I think you can't hear it enough, even though I kind of wish we could get to the place where we didn't even ever have to ask this question, where it just was, you know? I think it's important that we keep bringing up why does this matter? Why are we bringing this to the fore, right? So I always have to start with humanity. Recruitment, performance, and retention. All super important things of running a company. And for those of you who are students, you want to enter companies that continue to run. So you want them to know how to do this, right? So I have to start with humanity because it is what is so. We live in a diverse world, period, full stop. The sky is blue, the world is diverse. This is how it is, right? And so we really need to honor people's experiences, what their experience of being human on this planet in 2022 is like, right? And when people feel truly seen, there's a sense of belonging that they have. And that creates this feeling of psychological safety. So psychological safety is like what happened with Professor Morris and Bree in her willingness and ability to actually tell him what was happening for her on her job sites, right? Because there was a sense of safety that had been cultivated and created. That's not accidental, right? How many of you know, if you can think, if you've been in a career for a while like me, if you can think back on all the jobs you've had, can think of places you most like to work and how you felt there. Did you feel, the place you most like to work, did you feel like you were seen and valued and appreciated there? Yeah, right? It sounds so basic, but we have to create for that, okay? Recruitment. As I said, we live in a diverse world. Companies, when they reflect the diversity, they're more able to attract and recruit the talent, okay? As you also heard earlier, that's what the students today want. We have always had people who were the first or the only, right? How many of you have been the first or the only in some part of your life? Okay? Trailblazers, great. And it's really exhausting for people who are doing that all the time. It's exhausting. And what we want is to start seeing reflections, like also Keith Molnar was saying about the university. We want the faculty and the student body to reflect the population of Colorado, right? That's what we want for the companies as well, okay? And so you're gonna set yourself apart if you're moving with the times, you know, if you're really aware of what this takes. Performance, different perspectives are valuable. Again, it sounds so basic, but we love to be right. So we like our perspective. Our perspective is right to us. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just all we know. But when we can really consciously invite in more perspectives, you want to optimize for the talent. You don't want the person who's quiet who has the most brilliant idea ever, but it never came out because the loud one's always talking, right? You want to optimize that talent that you've worked really hard to attract and hire. Diversity can drive innovation. I always say my husband is a science teacher right at Boulder High here, and we just see the world differently. And so we approach problems or challenges from different points of view a lot of the time. And that's really helpful. Actually, it can be frustrating, but it's also really helpful because it's like looking at this thing and you're like, okay, what are all the ways I can see this thing? And then that drives for creation, right? And people perform best in environments where they feel seen, heard, valued, and included. We already talked about that, which supports the bottom line. In case anybody missed this, we're still living in capitalism. Despite how some people feel about it, that is the world, right? We are in capitalism, and we need to consider that. This is an industry conversation. It is expensive to recruit, and it is expensive when talent turns over, all of that. You know, you want people who are performing at their top, and they will do that more when they feel like they can share themselves, right? When they feel like their voice will be heard if they're courageous enough to speak up. Retention, people stay where they feel safe, valued, and included. And you want to keep your talent, like we already discussed, right? You want people who are really invested in the missions and the values that you've worked so hard to build inside of your companies. You want them to feel a part of that, to have some ownership in that. When I talk to people who have been places for a long time, it's because they feel like there's community. you know? It's not always because they love what they do for a living, quite frankly. It's because they love who they get to do it with and the way it feels to go into work, right? Okay. So again, why does DEI, focus on DEI matter? These are my words, just to summarize. Creating psychological safety leads everyone to contributing, which allows for diversity of thoughts and ideas, that creates places of innovation and leadership, that support recruitment and retention, and build a safe, welcoming, creative, and successful work environment for all. Okay. This is aspirational. This is aspirational. As far as I've had the profound privilege in my life to work in lots of different industries at this point, and I don't know that anybody's got this fully dialed, right? This is what we're striving for. This is how it all ties together. But when we're clear on what we're striving for, we can make decisions, have conversations, build systems and structures that support this.